Hello, Shoyan here. I finished the floor insulation and the subfloor. Today, I'm wrapping the whole house with insulation and membrane. These days, insulation and air sealing are at the heart of modern homes. It's work you just can't skip. People often live in their house for decades, and with good insulation, you stay comfortable and save energy and money. Back in the day, no one really thought about it. Insulation was seen as a luxury. But now, if you're building a new house, it's pretty much a given. I start by fitting insulation between the columns and studs. I use fiberglass with the same thickness as the columns. For example, 105 mm thick ones for 105 mm deep columns. This fiberglass is bare, but it's denser than the typical plastic wrapped kind, so it packs in tight. I pack it in tightly all around the house. People often ask, isn't it hard to handle bare fiberglass like that? It does itch a bit, but once I get used to it, it actually works in my favor. Since the insulation's dense, it fits snug and stays in place. Insulation and air sealing are often thought of as the same thing, but they're completely different. Insulation fills the structure with material that holds in heat. Air sealing, on the other hand, blocks air from flowing in and out of the house. For this house, I cover the inside with an airtight membrane. Ideally, you do insulation and air sealing together, but sometimes a house only gets insulation without the air sealing. Installing the airtight membrane is trickier than it looks. It's a job that really takes practice. Here, I'm using a 0.2 mm membrane. I staple it neatly in straight lines onto the columns and studs. Next, I tape over the membrane. The staples leave holes, so I seal them with air sealing tape. I also run tape along all the joints between the columns and beams. No matter how neatly you hang the membrane, those staple holes are still there. Covering them with tape keeps air from slipping through. In this house, I'm also installing vertical fairing strip supports over the tape. Without those, air would still find a way out. Watching the footage, it almost looks like I'm slapping on a bunch of tape every 450 millimeters. For this 99 square meter house, I used about 60 rows of tape, way more than I expected. With the walls done, I move on to the main building's attic. I handle both insulation and air sealing here too. For the attic, I don't go in the usual order of insulation first. Instead, I lay the airtight membrane over the structural plywood first, then put insulation on top. Before that, I install gypsum boards where fire spread could be erased. As you can see, this section doesn't get any direct insulation. Structural plywood acts like a ceiling here. I work on air sealing and insulation above that. In the attic, air flows in from the eaves and rises through the walls. It all ends up gathering here. The attic is ventilated to let that air move from low to high. Putting up boards on the high side is fine, but the low side of the attic is tough. Originally, the attic was supposed to be a bit taller. It has a 2.5 in 10 slope, but we had to lower the ridge by about 10 to 15 centimeters to meet road setback rules. That makes it tight when laying insulation. I can barely squeeze my body into the first row of the main building's attic. The airtight membrane was already laid during framing, so there are a few holes here and there. I carefully check and patch them with tape before working on the insulation. The insulation was also lifted into the attic during framing, so it's ready to go. Here, unlike the walls, I'm using pre-wrapped fiberglass batts. I lay down 2 layers of 100mm batts, crisscrossed, first horizontally, then vertically. If I had to use the bare fiberglass from the walls up here, it would have been way harder.
Mask.
Once half the attic is covered, I make the access panel. We'd cut a 90cm squared temporary opening in the structural plywood during framing so that we could get in and out. Now I close it off and cover it with the airtight membrane since I can't lay insulation there. That means if I don't make a permanent access panel first, I'd get trapped in the attic. So I'm starting by making the permanent access panel, and then I'll cover the opening that was made during the framing stage. I also put up the munefuda and gohei. In the old days, we'd put up the munefuda and fan during framing, but strong winds could blow the fan away. So now we always do it after the house is sealed up and there's no wind coming through. For half the attic, I lay leftover wall insulation as the first layer, then top it with the 100mm mats, just like the other half. I lay them snugly for the base layer so that nothing goes to waste. The wall insulation actually performs even better, so that's a bonus. With that, the attic insulation is completely finished. Finally, I caulk around the window frames. That seals any small gaps and wraps up the airtight work. Now the insulation and air sealing for the whole house are done. This ends the foundation stage, and I can finally start the interior joinery. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.